The question that everybody is asking, is XDefiant the Call of Duty killer? Well, I got a chance to play it. It's the open beta right now for anyone that doesn't know. I think you can hop in for like another 30, 40 hours if you want to give it a go. The game is like something like 20 gig, maybe a bit more. It took me like an hour to download, so if anyone's interested and you have enough download speed, then, you know, go ahead, try it out. It's pretty good. I played about 2 hours so far, and I think the closest COD that it reminds me of is probably like a Black Ops 3 / Black Ops 4, which were both pretty good games. The only thing it doesn't have is the like jumping jetpacking stuff, which is like a good thing. But a couple of things that stand out to me is that it just feels a lot more classic than Call of Duty now. Call of Duty these days is full of movement kids that are like slide cancelling and bouncing around and things like this. Whereas this game, so far at least, I haven't seen anyone do any crazy stuff like that. It just feels very much like a game that may have come out, you know, like 10 years ago, but instead they've released it now. It's graphically not as good as the latest CODs, it's a bit more arcadey, but I don't really care. The gameplay is really good, and also the map design is insanely good as well. So pretty much all positives for me. The one thing that I am annoyed about is that seems to be a couple of bugs, but that's expected obviously with a beta. But if you're playing on a controller using a PC, I don't seem to actually be able to choose controller as my input settings. It's locked to keyboard and mouse even though I have a controller plugged in. So I don't quite understand that. I haven't figured it out. When you go to the setting, it does say like input changes are locked during matchmaking and in-game. Go to the menus to change it. I go back to the menus and it still doesn't let me change it. So there's some weird bug going on there. But the guns feel nice. The game does have like ultimates. It's kind of like a hero shooter, but you also pick your loadout. So you choose your loadout, and then the hero shooter element is simply the ultimate that the characters have. So a lot of people are kind of calling this like a Black Ops mixed with like an Overwatch or something, kind of like those two had a love child. And it's not bad at all. I do think that this is going to take a big chunk out of the Call of Duty player base. Now I don't know how long for, because it's like a ritual of COD players to buy every single release. Many will state that they won't buy the next release, but then come release day they give in and they buy it anyway because all their friends are, all the streamers they watch are, all the YouTubers they watch are, and it's where the main focus for the esports competition is. But there's only a certain amount of times a company can mess up until the player base leaves. Halo Infinite is a very good example of this, going from 260,000 people on Steam to now just 6,000 on most days. That's if it's lucky. So maybe, you know, maybe this time is upon us. Maybe something will replace Halo, and maybe this is the game that's going to replace Call of Duty, or at the very least take out a chunk of that player base that they have. Obviously, XDefiant has come out and said we are not making a battle royale, so the Warzone players will probably stay with COD. But the COD players that prefer more of a classic style arena shooter might transfer over to XDefiant. How long for again, don't know. This could be like a Splitgate situation where people play for 2 months, 3 months and then leave. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. But it does make me kind of excited. I like this kind of stuff, you know, when a company is like dominant in the scene for a while, and then some newcomers come along and kind of, you know, take the industry by storm. It's always fun. It's I like rooting for the underdogs and stuff like that. It's cool to see. It is by Ubisoft, so it's not an indie company by any means. And Ubisoft are kind of known for being like the Wish version of every game you've ever imagined. They made The Crew instead of Forza Horizon. They have Brawlhalla, which is basically Smash Bros. They had a game called I Am Alive, which was basically The Last of Us. And now they have XDefiant, which is just COD. But if it's good, then it's good, and we don't complain. So we'll have to wait and see what everyone thinks. The last beta they did before this one actually saw more than 1 million people load up the beta, which is pretty much insane numbers. So it could be the game to take a big chunk out of the COD player base. It's also free to play, so obviously it's going to be riddled with microtransactions, skins, that kind of stuff. But that's fine, you don't have to buy that stuff. The core game is free, which invites a lot more people to download your game because there's zero risk. The game also has a couple of like ex-COD developers working on it, I think. People that worked on like the older COD games, like the Black Ops 2s, 3s, and the Modern Warfare 2s, 3s. Not the current Modern Warfare 2, the older ones. So it seems like a good team behind it. What they've got so far seems pretty polished, and it looks like it's going to do good. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of XDefiant if you've got a chance to play it. And we'll see what happens with this game in the future. I'll definitely be playing it when it comes out, and I think I'm going to go play a couple more games of the beta now. So I'm going to do that, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.